during our opening season in 2016. We held a concert called Inuxuit by John Luther Adams in a large bowl of Stephen Telaznik's Satellite No. 5 Pioneer. And it was 40 percussionists spread throughout this bowl. We invited our guests to come and experience. And being a part of music and nature in this piece of art, it just naturally happens here at Tippet Rise.
Lindsey Hinmon, co-director of Tippet Rise Art Center. You've been here almost from the very beginning. Tell us all a little bit about what it means to be a co-director of this multifaceted place.
We are a place where you can experience large-scale sculptures, music, poetry, architecture, all out in nature, cast on 12,500 acres. And believe it or not, that's almost the size of Manhattan. Work includes citing artworks, working with PR teams, marketing, working with the community, both local, regionally, and a little bit farther out, and having a good handle on what we're doing with the educational component, and being good stewards of the lands, which is instrumental for part of our mission here.
It's so interesting because you both invoked these structures, but also the physical surroundings, nature and these structures.
Tippet Rise is within the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. Yellowstone is the largest intact ecosystem in the lower 48. Yellowstone alone makes up 2.2 million acres, which is just on the horizon. Tippet Rise Art Center and this surrounding makes me feel the art deeper. It makes me understand the music a little bit more. It makes me take a moment to breathe. When they're underneath the Domo by Ensemble Studio, listening to music and feel that wind going through their hair, they're in that moment and they're feeling that moment and they're feeling the music, feeling the art, and it's extremely powerful.
Relevance of Place for you is about radical presence, taking this moment and acknowledging the fact that this place is giving you permission to do that. That seems so appropriate and resonant with the mission of Tippet Rise as Kathy and Peter Halstead have evolved it. They say Tippet Rise is a metaphor. It is an intersection where art, music, land, sky, architecture, and poetry can weave together into an algorithm that is greater than the sum of its parts. It's always been obvious to us, among others, that everything is involved in everything else. With Tippet Rise, we're hoping to provide an environment where these transfers of energy and knowledge can take place. What are some more thoughts you have about the decision to be here in this part of Montana?
The search for this place took years. When Peter and Kathy stepped on this land, it just felt right to them, the rolling hills, the access to this wilderness, for the art to reside in their own little nook and cranny, and also to experience music with this big sky is really unique. You mentioned being in Montana. We feel it's our duty to be good stewards of the land here, good stewards for the environment, good stewards for our community and neighbors. We have an incredible educational team headed by Beth Korth, and she has over 100 different educational events a year, and that is visiting schools on a weekly basis throughout the school year, hosting the Boys and Girls Club during the summer months of working with preschools, and we have a strong bond with Montana State University. One of our missions at Tippet Rise is poetry. We've been really fortunate to be able to film a lot of Rocky Mountain Western poets in this landscape. Again, it's bringing poetry and nature and art together.
You've talked a lot about various artworks already. I wonder if there are other stories around some of the other cited works that might be, special to share.
Beethoven's Quartet by Mark DeSuvero, which was installed in the summer of 2015, and it's now in its permanent home here in Montana. We were really excited to celebrate with a string quartet. At the finish of the installation, we had the space-time team with Mark DeSuvero as they're about to strike the bow onto the violin. For the celebration, it just starts raining and thundering and lightning, and everybody's seeking cover. The musicians grab their instruments and run into the van. And minutes later, after a very powerful and very strong thunderstorm, it passes. And double rainbow behind the Beartooth. The sun is setting, so the stainless steel part of Beethoven's quartet is illuminating with reds and pinks, and it is just this most beautiful sky. And the musicians come out and play. Mark sitting up front and crying, and it was very, very powerful and a memory I'll never forget.
I wonder if you, as somebody who lives with this intersection, if you could say a little bit more about it.
If you don't mind, I'd like to bring a book by one of my favorite authors, Rick Bass. It's called The Book of Yak. He writes some beautiful passages about nature and then also about art. I think that art is one of the spillover effects, one of the indicators of the richness of a place. You can't measure or capture quantitatively that richness or health, but I think that sometimes art, like a wolf or grizzly or caribou, can be an indicator of the health and diversity of a place. He also goes on to say, where art exists, the spirit of a place still exists. And that brings me back to why Tippet Rise Art Center in Montana.
Fabulous. You have more works coming up. You've also begun to do a few indoor pieces. So much has happened since 2016. So much is still happening and more is ahead. Can you say a little bit more about what you're excited about and what's coming and unfolding in the next year to 3?
Last year in 2022, we acquired Marie Watt's companion species, Floating and Held. It is a large wall hanging that greets our visitors inside the Olivier Music Barn Visitor Center. Upon their arrival with vibrant satin blankets and steel jingle bells, kind of in the formation of the sunset or the sunrise here, the jingle bells bringing in the music component, and also they're in like a cloud formation on this particular piece. Blankets have such a significant meaning to Marie and her work, especially with the feeling of feeling warmth and feeling held. Blankets are given for a variety of reasons: birthing moments, dying moments, sacred moments. And so it's a really special piece in a very special place. And I can't wait to share a out-of-doors performance space that we'll be placing up just past the Beartooth portal, and that will be called the Geode. And the Geode is 4 acoustical shells made out of steel and Douglas fir wood. And then late June or early July, we'll be installing a sculpture by Louise Nevelson, who is a powerhouse Ukrainian-born female artist. The piece is called Trilogy. And the third piece is Archway 2 by Alexander Lieberman. He honors how people interact and view his work. And so this piece in particular has the Beartooth Mountains behind it, so people can access through it like a metaphorical gateway.
Lindsey, I am such an admirer of your work. I am so privileged that you agreed to be part of Relevance of Place and for you to share how you feel and the importance of that as co-director and how much you keep that front and center is very moving and poignant.
Well, I feel the same. I'm honored to be here with you and honored to be here to represent Tippet Rise and just feel so fortunate. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Thank you. Thanks for being part of it.